one of the things I first decided to look at was in my various roles in the community or in the society as an instructor in the University of Calgary, Athabasca University, as a business owner, as a mom, and all these different responsibilities. You know, I had people who came to me and kept on asking the same questions. You know, hey, Dr. Chika, I'm not sure what to do with my life. I don't know what to do with my career. I'm not sure whether I have an entrepreneurial spirit. I feel like I should be a business owner. I don't know how to make these choices, you know, and I also don't know how to find a balance, you know. I have all these things going on, but it looks like I need to forgo one thing for the other. Everything keeps, you know, kind of suffering. You know, so it really became apparent that there was a need for us to have something like this where women could hear from other women who have succeeded in all these different facets, you know, and share their experiential journeys on how they've made, you know, these huge, I want to say, milestones in their own careers. So thankfully today we have 3 exceptional women who will be discussing with us, teaching us as well, because we're also here to learn, right? So we're going to have 3 exceptional women today who will be teaching us. We have Chioma Ufodike, we have also Yuen, and we have Eka. Before they come to teach, we're going to show a quick video kind of letting us know why they're here. You know, so they have very robust backgrounds in their different sectors. So it's critical to know why they are here today and why we've given them this opportunity to teach us. It's because they have a lot to share. You know, across 3 women who have decades of professional experience, you know, there's also a wealth of knowledge behind people like this. So we really want to hear about those decisions and how they've arrived where they are. In a few minutes, we'll have Catherine, one of the members of our organizing committee, come and talk about a very critical part of WTAL, which is our funding. For the last 3 years, we've run on personal funds. We've never had anyone or made a request for donations, but we've only just begun that because we realized that the responsibility is very huge and it does require a huge expense. So Kathy will talk about how we've made this easy for anyone who is interested in doing that, but we need to emphasize that we want you to donate only if at the end of this seminar you feel like you're taking away something. So you're not compelled to give, but you're giving on the platform of the fact that you've learned new knowledge today and you're taking away something that you didn't have when you stepped into this place. So that is a sign to us that we're also delivering on what we promise, that every day we're building more well-rounded women who are able to really go into the society, compete equally on all platforms and thrive. So that's a very simple request. On that note, I'll invite Catherine to come and speak a little bit. After that, I'll be back here for a few minutes to start the introduction for Chioma, who is our first speaker tonight. Thank you for listening.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We want to specially welcome you to this annual edition of Woman Thou Art Loose. Woman Thou Art Loose is a non-profit organization and is targeted to the all-round development of the women. Its aim is to raise giant women who are fully equipped for the fast-growing society. It was created in 2020, and since 2020, they have been holding monthly seminars, and it usually holds on the last Saturday of every month. At Woman Thou Art Loose, every month, women are being coached. They are provided with a platform where they can get information both spiritually, business-wise, entrepreneurship in their various careers. So every month, women are provided with this various information. And since 2020, it has gained so much popularity. And this is evident by our in-person attendance and online views. And since its creation, it has been an awesome experience. And women can actually testify that they have learned so much through this women platform. And every last Saturday of the month, women are being shaped and they are provided with the information to make sure they are aware and seeking the information they need. Because there is so much out there, but you need the information and you need the right people that can guide you through. At Women That Are Loose, women are being shaped both spiritually. Like our convener said, since 2020, its purpose was spiritual development. And her as a pastor and a mother, so many women come up to her. They are facing challenges in their businesses, in their careers. So she thought it was that get people, women who are experienced in business, in their careers to come coach the women. So every month, women are provided. Since its creation, it has 3 main goals. Women That Are Loose, since its creation, it has 3 main goals. The first goal is that women are aware of their environment and they are seeking the information. And the second goal is that the women are maximizing the potentials available to them. And the third one is we have women who through their experiences they come, they coach other women, maintaining a network where experienced people come in, donate their time voluntarily to help train other people. So these are the threefold aims of Women That Are Loose. Dr. Chika, who is the convener of Women That Are Loose, has set a very clear vision for Women That Are Loose. And the vision is to get strategies to make sure these women are fully equipped. Every woman in the society, it just needs 1 or 2 people to coach you and you will be prepared for the fast-growing community which we have there. Women That Are Loose, the chief among its elements is to execute its vision. And executing this vision of having women gain their skills, having women develop their businesses, having women gain popularity, sensitize and get themselves. It is not a one-man business. It is not a one-person something. So she thought it wise, as we have our guests tonight, that these guests, they come up together, they teach, they coach, they provide the necessary information that we need. And this has been through voluntary donations. Since its creation, it has been donations from our goodwill ambassadors, our participants, which we appreciate you so much for all you have put. People have put in the convener, the organizing committee, our participants, our good ambassadors have donated so much, both financially, their time, their knowledge, and we appreciate you so much for all you have done. At this point in our seminar, we want to solicit for your voluntary donations. Like our convener, Dr. Chika earlier said, has been running through the funding from voluntary participants. And we want to solicit at this point of our seminar that you can donate to this cause. And if you're here, you are wondering, why should I donate to this cause? Why should I give my money? You get seated, and I believe at the end of this session, you might want to consider your decision, because there is so much in store tonight. So we have various means, various platforms where you can donate to this cause. We have our email transfer, info@wta.ca. You can donate cash. You can donate a check, WTA, Canada. You can donate cash. You can also donate your time. You can donate everything. We welcome you, we receive it. We want to appreciate you. Like our convener said, it's voluntary. You are not obligated to give. This is voluntary donations. If you have felt, if you are being touched, if you have seen the cause, you have heard her speak to us, and you see, oh, I want to support this cause. I want to support this movement. Feel free. We have our media subsequently. They will project to us our various donation platforms, and feel free to donate to us. And if you're here, you're ready to donate to this cause, while our convener, Dr. Chika, comes off, please, I will give you some few minutes. Like we received some information from the table. Inside we have a bookmark. At the back of it, you have the donations platforms. So you can quickly donate through those various platforms to us. We appreciate you so much for your time, for your donations. And we say thank you. As you do donate, we'll invite the convener, Dr. Chika, as he welcomes our guests tonight. Thank you so much.
Let's just prepare the welcome video for Chioma. So I was even just speaking to them in the office just a few minutes ago, and I was telling Kathy how we met. So Chioma is a fantastic woman by herself, but I met her through her husband, who I went to seek for other reasons, you know, secret reasons. You know, so, but I've heard about her. I mean, it's hard not to hear about a woman who has done very well in the society. And just as I was thinking about who to invite, I was looking on LinkedIn and I saw that she had just been invited somewhere else. I didn't even mention that to you, but I think you went to speak at CBC, I believe. And so when I saw that, it just kind of confirmed to me that I was thinking in the right direction, you know. And so one of the things we try to do here, and I will just just beat the dead horse, is to really just go into our society and find every kind of woman. So we're not particular about what they look like. You know, so any woman who has succeeded in anywhere that they are positioned is a good enough example for us. So we're not picking and choosing based on skin color or nationality or anything. In fact, in the coming months, we'll have a very robust, diverse group of speakers who will be coming up to speak to us in June. We've already convened the speakers for June and for July as well, who will be from completely different professional sectors as well. We have someone who is in politics, someone who is in health and wellness, you know, so who are completely diverse from myself as well. So Chioma has a very strong professional background, and just seeing what she has achieved in her several years of working in the country and in this city is phenomenal. And to own a business, to be in employment, to have a family, to successfully balance all this thing over decades is commendable by anybody. So we really want to know how she has been able to handle all that and also rise in the different levels of her employment as well. So can we play the introductory video, and then after which we'll have Chioma come speak to us.
Ufodike is a fellow of the Chartered Professional Accountants and leader in finance, regulatory compliance, risk management, governance, and forensic accounting, with over 23 years of experience spanning across various industries. Chioma is currently the Chief Compliance Officer for Olympia Trust Company and oversees regulatory compliance and policy management across all lines of business. She holds a Bachelor of Arts degree in criminology and a master's in forensic accounting. She is also a certified fraud examiner, a certified anti-money laundering specialist, and is a graduate of the Directors Education Program from the Institute of Corporate Directors at the Rotman School of Management, University of Toronto. Chioma has served on the board of non-profit organizations and crown corporations. She currently chairs the Finance and Audit Committee of the Agricultural Financial Services Corporation. She is currently serving as a director for the Alberta Teachers Retirement Trust Board, the CPA Education Foundation Board, and a nominating committee member for CPA Alberta Achievement Awards. She previously served as the treasurer and chair Finance and Audit Committee for the Lafayette House Conservation Society, a Canadian not-for-profit organization. When networking, Chioma is a fitness enthusiast who enjoys traveling, spending time with her 4 beautiful kids, and giving back to the community.
Let's welcome Chioma to speak to us this evening.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chika, for that wonderful introduction. Good evening, everyone. My name is Chioma Ufodike, and I'm so happy to be here and really blessed to be here. And I also just wanted to say thank you to Dr. Chika for affording me the opportunity to speak to you very beautiful people today, and just the opportunity to give back to the cause, give back to society, and just kind of share my experience with you. So I'm hoping that by the end of my session, end of my talk, if you go home with 1 or 2 nuggets or tidbits, I think my work here has been done. So just a little bit about me. What I'm going to be talking to you today about is I'll be talking about career growth. If you're feeling stuck in your career, how to traject your career to the next level, how to grow your career. And I'll be giving you tips and tricks that has worked for me based on my experience, right? So the lens that I'm going to be delivering this speaking engagement is what I've gone through. So just a little bit about me. I'm going to take you back because I've been in this country for 27 years, but I've had about 23 years in corporate Canada, working and growing my career. So I'll take you back to my story. So this will be like storytelling, and I'll be giving you tips and tricks as to how I was able to grow my career. So right now, what do I currently do? I'm the Chief Compliance Officer for Olympia Trust Company. It's a financial services, non-deposit taking financial institution. And then, so it's a C-suite position and an executive position. I also own my own business, Ufodike Professional Corporation, UPC, where we provide anything from personal to corporate taxes, audit, forensic accounting, investigations, and consulting. And then my third stream is I do sit on boards. So just like I was introduced, I sit on 4 boards, not-for-profit and Crown Corporation, and I chair their Audit, Finance, and Risk Committee. I wanted to make sure that I say that because every single stream or every single one of those lines of business, I call it for myself, has given me some kind of experience and helped me traject my career to the next level. And I'll explain why and how. So let me take you back on a journey. I immigrated, so I'm from Nigeria. I immigrated when I was 16 to Vancouver with my family. When I came, I think at that time I was too young to get into university, and I got into college. So while I was in college, I was working at a clothing store. At that time, there was an RBC branch right beside the store I was working, and I would see people just dress up and go into the branch and they work. And I always had this yearning for corporate Canada. I just wanted to do that. And I said to my manager at that time, I really want to be a bank teller. And she looked at me and said, why would you want to do that? That's one of the lowest paying profession at that time. Bank tellers were getting paid $7.70. If you worked for tellers at that time in Vancouver, it was one of the highest paid position for students, at $13. And then clothing was about maybe $11, $12. So she looked at me and was like, why would you want to leave what you have now and do that? So this is lesson number 1, because that singular decision that I made was the genesis of my career in banking, right? But I didn't listen to her. I did up my resume. At that time, they didn't have any online portal for you to submit. I walked downtown to the office, submitted my resume, and then I got called, went to the interview and got offered the job as a bank teller. That was the highlight of my time at that time. But my happiness was short-lived. I was working as a bank teller, really enjoyed it, but I got robbed twice at gunpoint. So I was the token teller that the bank robber came. So that experience, not just once, but twice. So that experience was quite traumatic. And because of that, I said to myself, I would never do frontline again. So around the same time, I graduated from college and I was looking for a university. I kind of hated Vancouver. It wasn't really cool at that time. But I had heard about this city called Toronto that was hustling and bustling with a lot of people. So I said to myself, I applied to the University of Toronto and I got in. And I went to my parents and I said, I was 19 at that time. I told them I want to move to Toronto. And they said, but you don't have a job. How are you going to support yourself? So then I started looking for a job. But I knew that I didn't want to do frontline. I went through the roster and I found this position called a fraud analyst. Had no experience, didn't even know what that meant, but I applied for it. So lesson number 2. There's statistics out there that show that women, as women, we don't apply for things until we feel that we're 100% qualified. But men, they are more confident, even if they're 20, 30, 40% qualified or meet the requirements, they will go ahead and apply for it. So my advice for you today is if you see something that you think you are interested in that is part of your career path, whether you have the direct experience or not, as long as you have transferable skill set, go ahead and do it, because what's the worst that could happen? They tell you no, and then you move on, right? But back to the story. So I applied to the role as a fraud analyst, didn't think I was gonna get it, got an interview, and I guess myself and the hiring manager, we just hit it off. She liked me, I liked her, I got hired. But like I said, that was the genesis of my career, really in banking and in fraud and forensics. So I started working at RBC, at the National Fraud Detection Group, which was very interesting, investigating different types of debit and credit card fraud. So at the time, there was a lot of fraud with credit card because the magnetic strip at that time, we didn't have the technology, the chip technology that we have today that is, really good. At that time, the point of compromise was just everywhere, right? So lots of investigation. So I really loved it. So did that for 2 years, and then I got promoted to become the assistant manager, investigating different types of internal Royal Bank defalcation, so when internal staff steal, right? And then 9/11 happened. They introduced this thing called the Bill C-25, which is the Anti-Money Laundering and Terrorist Financing Act, and they tapped me to lead that department. Didn't know anything about it, but transferable skills, right? That's what I keep saying. Transferable skills, investigation, you're looking at, you're following the money, whether it's for fraud or for money laundering purposes, you're doing that. So I was in the bank for a total of 6 years. And I looked at my resume and I said, this is good, but I think I need more. So lesson number 3, get uncomfortable with being comfortable. I know that a lot of times you're in your role, you can even do it while you're sleeping. It's not challenging anymore, but it's just easy because you're getting easy money. But that is a slippery slope, and it's a very challenging place to be. It's very risky because you're there, you're comfortable, you're not being challenged, but the money is good, you're not growing, but hey, what it is. And if you keep doing that, you find yourself being stuck because you'll not be motivated to do more, right? You would never grow your career or trajectory to the next level if you're very comfortable. Once you're very comfortable and you stop learning, kick yourself in the behind, it's time to move on, right? So, like I said, I was at the bank for 6 years, and around that time, there was this new field called forensics, forensic accounting. Nobody knew what it was. I was curious, and I thought to myself, I think I'm going to pursue this. And at that time, the only firms that were offering this type of positions were consulting companies, right? And of course, again, I applied and I got in. But I left a leadership managerial role to take an analyst role. So sometimes, so this is lesson number 4, it's okay to go back, reset, to go forward, right? And I always say career growth is not always vertical. It could be horizontal, where you're stepping aside and you're garnering and gaining all the breadth of experience. And that experience is transferable to help traject you to the next level. So I took a lower role as a fraud analyst for a consulting company. Really loved it, and that was one of the best experience I could have gotten because it wasn't myopic, it wasn't narrow. I could do investigations for different types of company across a spectrum, right? So when I'm speaking to a client, I can draw my experience from this company, completely different. So that was great, meeting different clients, and I was growing in my breadth of experience. And not only that, in the consulting firms, there's different arms, right? So not only can you talk about doing forensics, you could go shadow tax, you could do other types of consulting, mergers and acquisitions, so you're learning, right? So that was good. So I did that for 2 years, but I had to leave because of course, with consulting world, work, family, life balance. I was getting married at that time. I wanted to start a family. I used to go to work at like 6 in the morning, but wouldn't leave till like 1 a.m., so it was taking a toll. So I said to myself, okay, I need something more stable. And then I started working for OSFI, which is a regulatory body that supervises financial institutions and life insurance company. Again, still growing my career. And then myself and my husband decided to move to Alberta, Calgary, because we wanted to own and operate our own accounting practice. So that's how we started off with Ufodike Professional Corporation. So we did that full-time for a while, and then we decided to go back in industry, because I always say you can never be in Alberta and not work for oil and gas, right? So decided to go back into industry, working for Enbridge, leading their forensics, compliance team. And then fast forward to today, so let me not take you through my career in a nutshell. Fast forward to today, I'm now the Chief Compliance Officer for Olympia Trust Company, and I oversee regulatory compliance, policy management, privacy for the entire organization. So that's my work history in a nutshell. So in all, I had worked for 6 companies, and in these 6 companies, I was able to grow, learn, garner experience, right? But the top 5 tips that I would leave with you today on how to grow your career. The first one is, leaning in. I think that as women, we've been shown to really underestimate our abilities. We tend to shy away from all those assertive or leadership roles that propel us to shine, right? We'd rather be followers than leaders. So what I'm here to tell you today is that, at work you may be asked, there may be a new project that is going on that you have no knowledge about, like nothing, you know nothing about that project. I want you to put up your hand to lead it. It will be very scary, but leading it will give you a chance to showcase your abilities, to learn about leadership skills, to learn new skills that you haven't learned before. Then you're being a leader and people are seeing you in that light that they haven't seen you before. So that tomorrow when there's something else, they remember you and they can call you to say, hey, you led that project, it was very successful, let's tap her to do that again. And on your resume, you've garnered leadership skills even though you're not in a managerial position. So this is what I mean by transferable skills, and you're able to speak confidently about those type of skills, right? So leaning in is one, so just, showing and in opportunities that showcase leadership skills and opportunities for you to shine. The other one is learning up, right? Knowledge is power. We all know that, and we've heard that time and time again. And it's by continuously learning that you amplify your power. So for me, I always say, I have a lot of letters after my name, and it's not by accident. For every role that I've had to garner the requisite education to help burnish my skill set. So when I walk into the room or somebody's reading my bio, they think, wow, she knows what she's talking about. Whether I do, whether I don't, doesn't matter, but you think so, right? So it's always perception that counts, and that's very important, right? Never underestimate your ability to continue learning, because when you stop learning, as the saying it goes, you die, really, right? So knowledge is power. So always focus on your professional development, and it doesn't matter what it is, so just keep learning. The next one is really have a plan. Know where you want to be I would say in 5 years from now, even if you don't know, just have a plan. Make a plan of things that make you happy. I always say, that make you happy. I remember when I first came to this country, I used to go on, I think at that time it was Workopolis, and I would just search up, like top paying jobs. And I would see like CEOs, CFOs, CCOs. And I would say to myself, at that time I was 16, that's what I want to do. How will I get there? I don't know, but I just used to see that, and I thought, I know I want to make money. I know I want to be an executive one day, and just have a plan, right? It could be a 2-year plan, a 3-year plan, a 5-year plan, but you just need to have a plan of where you want to be, doing things that make you happy. And like I talked about, career growth is not always vertical, right? It could be horizontal, where you are, stepping aside to garner experience that will grow your breadth and depth of experience that are transferable to helping you traject yourself to the next level. I also talked about getting uncomfortable with being comfortable. Don't ever forget that. And then my last tip is be very self-aware and build your own personal brand. I think this is the one time where I would tell you that you should worry about what people say about you in corporate environment. Because I've been on executive tables where you have a leader speak negatively about one of their staff. I don't know the staff, but guess what? That's my impression. It's now left an impression on me about that individual, right? So I always say in the workplace, you want to have a work buddy or a coach or a mentor or somebody who can tell you objectively what they think about you, how you did in your presentation, or how you're doing at work, period. Somebody that you trust, right? Like I said, this is the one time I'll probably tell you you should worry about, what other people have to say about you, because it's about your own personal brand. It's always very important to know your blind spots and work on them every day, right? Because everybody else can likely see your blind spots except you, right? You really don't know what you're not good at, but you think you're good at that. So that's why it's always good to have like a corporate mentor to say, hey, I think I did well in that presentation, but how did I really do? Did I really hit the nail on the head, or was I just off the mark, right? So that's really my tips for you for career advancement and how to grow your career. But at the end of the day, be yourself. Don't settle for less. Always keep growing. Always keep yearning, and always keep wanting more. Don't settle. Don't settle, and get uncomfortable with being comfortable. Thank you.
So we'll take a quick 10, 15-minute break, and then we'll come back for lesson 2. But I want to ask that in the meantime, can you prepare your questions? Just so that when we're done, we're going to have a quick chat with all the speakers and then kind of ask questions at that time. All right, thank you. See you soon.
Design, an award-winning architectural and interior design firm specializing in residential design across Canada.
ministries, one of the fastest growing commissions we know about. And our founder is Apostle Johnson Suleiman. And it was in my duty as a pastor in Calvary here that Woman Thou Art Loose was birthed. So Woman Thou Art Loose started as a platform focused on women's spiritual development, helping women to find spiritual fulfillment.
We sometimes don't have it coming into a new land. And the confidence and communication, we might come, like I said, I came confident. PhD, masters, worldwide, unit, this, that. The world is my oyster. And you get so many no's that eventually it begins to hit. It takes a hit at your confidence. Whether you like it or not, but it does take a hit at your confidence. And the fourth C is credentials and qualifications. I pity people who come who are like lawyers, engineers, and doctors, because they have to come and do all of that retraining all over again. And that I know can be a huge barrier, for newcomers. And then the fifth one is connections. So I came and I knew no one, absolutely nobody, just one human being, which was my husband. I had heard of one Union uncle that I reached out to, and he was just like, I'm so sorry, I'm busy. Let's try in a couple of months' time. And every time I reach out, I'm so busy. He's trying a couple of months' time. I was like, it's okay. I will find my path by myself. And so, those things, we really find as a newcomer coming in are huge and they're massive. And I found that, so for me, I wouldn't even say I've overcome, but I'm still working towards overcoming those challenges. I mean, I'm nowhere near where I want to be, but I'm also much, much further away from where I was when I first started. And the aim of the game, or the aim of this life is just constant progress, constant moving away from where you are and more towards where you want to be. And what I had to do was invest in myself. And I'm going to talk to you about the 4 key ways in which I did that. And you'll hear me say we a lot of the time, because even though these are methods or strategies or actions that I took, but because life is just tough, sometimes you need to go through it all again. You know, you have to go through that cyclical process again. And so I'm going to talk you through the 4 things that I have prioritized and I have found has made a significant difference in my life, in my happiness, and also in my trajectory within my career and other things like that. So the first one, I'll just go through the 4 of them and then I'll go into more detail. So the first one is visioning and goal setting. Really earmarking, doing that beeline towards where you want to go and identifying it. And then overcoming limiting beliefs. Now this one is rough. This one is a rough one. It took me, I'm still working on my limiting beliefs. And the third one is discipline. You cannot have a vision, overcome your limiting beliefs, but then you're not ready to put in the work. Otherwise, it just becomes a pipe dream. And the fourth one is building your village. So, I'm going to ask you a question. Did you know that the graveyard is the richest place on earth? Tell me why. Who could tell me why? Unrealized potential. Yes. Anything else? Anybody want to add anything to that? Why is it that the graveyard is the richest place on earth? Yes. Feeling? Yes. Dreams that never go.
Yes, visions and dreams that never got accomplished.
Visions and dreams that never got accomplished. Absolutely. This, you know, the graveyard is the richest place on earth because that is where you find all the hopes and dreams that were never fulfilled. Almost verbatim to what you just said. The books that were never written. The songs that were never sung. The inventions that were never shared. The cures that were never discovered. All because either someone was too afraid to take that first step, or there were limiting beliefs, or there were external factors, or there were internal factors. But either way, they have stopped you, we, us from reaching and achieving that dream, and then you end up dying without achieving it. And I, for one, am determined not to be one of those people that I've mentioned so far. Are we determined not to be one of those people? Oh yes, we want to make sure that we achieve everything we set out to achieve before we move into the different realm. I want us all to live a life that is purposeful, intentional, fruitful, and impactful. So whilst, of course, we will always prioritize our immediate selves, our immediate families, but at the heart of what we all do has an impact on other people. Whether you're a doctor, you're a lawyer, you're a teacher, you're a pastor, you're a volunteer, it has an impact on other people. But first, we've got to start with a vision. So what is your understanding of a vision? Does anybody want to share? Yes, somebody at the back. Do we have a microphone? What is your understanding of a vision?
What you see? A vision is what you see.
Interesting. Okay, that's interesting. Anybody else? The ability to think or plan for the future. Absolutely. A vision is the ability to close your eyes and imagine a future that does not yet exist. It's the ability to see beyond all the mess that we all have in our lives and see past through it all. See all of that mess, abstract your way away from it, clean it up, something that we really cannot touch. So you have to figure out how to create that path to get to your vision. And why is it important to have a vision? Anybody? Yes, I think there's a lady with a beautiful scarf.
It helps you to plan.
It helps you to plan. Yes. It helps you to plan. Having a vision really provides a sense of purpose and direction. For your life, for your career, or whatever it is you have that vision about. A clear vision makes it easy to weed out those things out of your life that stand in the way of achieving what matters most. Because if you have that vision, everything you do is aligned to it. It allows you to be able to say, I'm not doing that, I'm not taking that, I'm not addressing that, I'm not chilling with this person, or I'm not, it allows you to just focus. Because we have limited resources, limited energy, and if we're using our energy towards a whole bunch of stuff that is not important, by the time you get to your vision, you're portioning 25%, 10%, 25%, so it's better you portion.
Hello, everyone. We're back for our second lecture tonight, and we're going to be listening to Kathy Yuen. It's interesting when I think of when I met Kathy. I met Kathy very early this year. We were at an event for women who were being considered to be on boards, or who were, kind of wanting to be on boards. And we had a very good conversation. And I found out that Kathy is also an architect, just like myself. For those who don't know, I'm an architect. So interestingly, in our conversation, I had no idea that she was the person I already knew about, because Kathy's firm is very popular. It's called Phase One Design, and it's been here for 17 years, and there's offices across Canada. And they've won several awards. Kathy is very popular, at least by name, because I wondered why I didn't recognize her, when I saw her. But it's very commendable what she's been able to do. And when you listen to her story, it's really inspiring to hear that she started this business so young and was able to really weather all the difficulties that are typically associated with, starting out in a very male-dominated, profession. And for her to have remained relevant all these years, 17 years now, is really worth learning from. So on that note, let's listen to Kathy's bio.
He is an accomplished business leader, renowned entrepreneur, and highly successful CEO. With a proven track record of delivering outstanding results, Kati has carved out a reputation as one of the most dynamic and innovative executives in the business world today. From a young age, Kati has always had a passion for business and entrepreneurship. After graduating as an architectural technologist in Calgary, Alberta, Kati quickly rose through the ranks of some of the most recognized construction companies in Western Canada as an on-site construction project manager, establishing a reputation as a top performer. Kati's entrepreneurial spirit eventually led to the founding of Phase One Design in 2016, a highly successful business that has rapidly grown into one of the most respected and innovative companies across Western Canada, with office locations in Calgary and Vancouver. Under Kati's leadership, Phase One Design has achieved unprecedented success. Phase One Design has designed over 700 homes across Canada, Victoria to Nova Scotia. The firm has been recognized across North America with over 32 nominations and awards. Their designs have been featured in publications across Canada, including House and Home Magazine, Best Home Magazine, The Globe and Mail, and many more. As a visionary leader, Kati has a unique ability to identify emerging trends and opportunities and to develop innovative strategies to capitalize on them. This has allowed Phase One Design to stay ahead of the curve in a rapidly evolving marketplace and to maintain its position as a leader in the industry. Kati is a well-recognized business leader, public speaker, and educator for the design and custom home community. He has spearheaded many community initiatives such as educational seminars, regular stage appearances with HGTV celebrities at numerous Home Plus garden shows, founded a YouTube channel, Custom Homes with Kati, and has been nominated twice for RBC Women Entrepreneur of the Year. Outside the office, Kati is passionate about non-profit causes and also furthering her business knowledge. She served as a volunteer director on the board for Horizon Housing Society for 5+ years and was a TEC Canada member for 7+ years. With Kati's exceptional leadership skills, unwavering education, and unparalleled business acumen, Phase One Design is well positioned to continue its rapid growth trajectory and to remain at the forefront of innovation in the industry.
Let's welcome Kathy to speak over the next 30 to 40 minutes.
Thank you, Chika. Hello, everybody. Hi. I'm just waiting for a slideshow. Thanks for everybody for braving the rain and coming here tonight. It was such beautiful weather, right? Calgary summers are the best. Well, you know what? I'm just gonna get going. Who needs slides? They're overrated. Oh, of course I say this and now the slides come on. All right. Well, hello everyone. My name is Kathy Yuen. Thank you so much for the beautiful introduction, Chika. That was very impressive. Thank you. I am the CEO and founder of Phase One Design. I was 26 years old. I gave 3 weeks notice to quit my very high-paying job as a project manager. I had 0 savings. Well, that's not entirely true. I had, like, I think maybe $200 in the bank. And I decided I was going to start a business. Because, wow, how fun would that be? I was like, oh, you know what? This is going to be great. I know everything because I'm 26 years old. I have so much experience. I had worked as a project manager and in the architectural industry already for, you know, a few years. I mean, that's so much experience. So why not? That was in 2006. My company, Phase One Design, was born. I thought I made the best decision of my life. A business? How easy would that be? You know, as a matter of fact, it was gonna be sweet. This was gonna be a sweet, sweet gig. I was gonna have so much free time. I was gonna go hang out with my friends all the time, with all my free time. Maybe go on some vacations. Maybe catch up on all those books I love reading that I never got around to because I had this thing called a job. And then, of course, I was gonna have a lineup of clients scrambling to my door to actually like pay me for my services because I had started a business. So of course, why wouldn't I have clients? Like, duh. And of course, I was gonna make a ton of money. I was like rolling in the dough. Everything was going to be sweet. What really happened was this. A lot and a lot and a lot of stress. A lot of very late nights. And the funny thing was, I was actually going nowhere. I was making 0 progress. That whole lineup and crowd of clients I thought was going to happen looked more like this. This is a tumbleweed rolling by itself across the desert. So basically 0 clients. Because I had no experience in sales and marketing. I was like an architecture person. Like, what did I know about business? And of course, there was the financial issues. Because, you know, when you don't have a job, and when you only have $200-ish in the bank, that doesn't really get you very far. But somehow, I stand here before you today, 17 years later, and made it work. Made it happen. Thank you. And 17 years later, I have learned so many lessons. I have failed so many times. Like days when I like literally wouldn't even get out of bed. Like I would sleep till noon. I'm like embarrassed to admit this. Like sleep till noon just because like I was like, no, I'm not doing this. Not today. Today's not the day. And then like wake up and then eat like potato chips for breakfast. Like a bag, a whole bag. Like the big bags, not the small ones. But you know, tonight is not about me. Tonight is about you guys sitting here in the audience. Because what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna share the lessons that I've learned along the way and in the hopes that it will help you also find your pathway to greatness. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to go out and do what I did, because don't do that. That was kind of stupid, to be honest. I was 26, okay, so I'm gonna, and not that 26 is a bad age, I'm just saying, like, I wasn't very smart back then. But I believe that every single person sitting here today has the potential to do something amazing and great. And whatever that journey is, it doesn't matter how old you are, what your background is, what your education is, doesn't matter your sex, your race, where you came from, none of that matters. It's just, there's only a few things that matter, and that's just that you want it. And my hope today is walking away that one of the lessons that I share with you today will help you on your journey to greatness. So let's get started. So lesson number 1 is develop great habits. So you know that saying, show of hands, who's heard the saying, put your, you know, when you're not planning, they tell you to put your oxygen mask on first before helping others. Show of hands, we've all heard that, right? Okay, so sometimes, you know, people say, you know, that sounds a little selfish, Kathy, to actually do that. Like, why would you actually do that? Well, lots of different reasons, because if you're not taking care of yourself, you can't take care of other things, like if you want to start a business, you can't take care of that. If you're a student, you're going to school, you can't get good grades in school. The most valuable asset that you have here today, and more valuable than money, is your mind. And in order for your mind to function at its optimal state, there are things that need to happen. And you know what? I don't like to complicate things, so I'm just going to say the 3 things that for me have worked year after year and after year. When I fall off the wagon and stop doing these things, I can actually feel my mental state disintegrating. So that's really like eat well, sleep, and work out. So I'll just kind of touch on each of these things very lightly. So eating, like literally eating healthy, I don't think that's, you know, we've all heard that. That's super important, but so basic that I think a lot of people forget about it. Sleep. Who here sleeps like more than 6 hours a day? Show of hands. Oh, wow. Oh, this is good. I've asked other people this. Hey, you know, I remember a time when it used to be like really cool to be like, oh, guess what? I got away with like 3 hours of sleep last night. I used to be like that too. But studies actually show, and I won't get into it because I'm a book nerd, you'll find this about me. But I read a whole book about sleep. It's the science of sleep. And long story short, you need 7 hours of sleep for your mind to operate at its optimal state. So if you're not thinking clearly, how on earth do you think you can perform optimally? So sleep is important. Working out, again, exercise, all that kind of stuff. Again, we all know this. Easier said than done, though. A lot of people don't do this. But literally, if you try this, I challenge every single person sitting here today. If you try this, even for 2 weeks, it will change your life, literally. You will think better, you'll feel better, and it's just a domino effect for whatever you're trying to accomplish in your life. One of the best books, has anybody read this book, 5 a.m. Club by Robin Sharma? Okay, you have to read it. If you don't want to read the whole book, even just download the PDF summary. It's great. It talks about the habits that you create by waking up at 5 a.m. and doing all those 3 things. I am not a morning person. Who here is not a morning person? Yeah, like I don't think humans were like born to be morning people. This book actually changed that for me, and it literally changed my life. So great read. Feel free to take a photo. I'm gonna like suggest a whole bunch of books and resources in this presentation today, so feel free just to take photos. The next one that's really great is Atomic Habits. This is one of my newer reads. It just talks about how to create good habits. Because yeah, I think as humans, like even for me, like I struggle to create habits, but it is life-changing. All right, so habit number 2 is set goals. Okay, so you know, everybody's heard set your goals. But yes, goal setting is absolutely important. Even more importantly than setting goals is how you set goals and how you manage them. So I'm gonna share a few things with you that has worked for me, and I'll tell you why. So writing down your goals on paper, like not your phone, like literally writing them with your hand with a pen and paper is extremely powerful. If you actually read scientific studies, you are 40% more likely to accomplish your goals when you write them on paper than if you don't. Even on your phone, again, I won't get into the science behind it, but there is science behind this. So for me, what I do, I actually write my goals down and I actually look at them every single morning. It takes me 5 seconds, but I have it written in a notebook and I look at it in the morning after I work out, after I do my 5 a.m. thing. The other thing that you should do with goals is you share them with other people. Because the minute you share them with people, you kind of feel silly when you don't accomplish them. So it kind of triggers something in the back of your mind. Even if you don't 100% accomplish them, you will actually make progress towards them. I'm going to share something with you that we use actually in my company, in my business. It's called, whoa. Uh-oh, it's going the wrong way. There we go. I was trigger happy there a little bit. So this is called a scorecard. So what you see on the left-hand side, that's like measurables. This is in a business setting. And then the first column is a goal column. So like warm leads, 25. And then each week, we actually track them in my company. And I'm not saying you need to get to this level of detail, but I can tell you right now, just this one simple exercise has accelerated my company where, like I was actually just telling Chika today, we're doubling the size of my company in 6 months, which is like insane. But it has actually allowed us to do this. And you can do this with both your business and your personal goals. And so you pick like a goal that's actually just beyond what you think you can do, because you want to set the bar high, and then you just track the numbers. Hitting the goal isn't the only purpose of doing this. It's seeing the trends. So if your numbers are going up or going down, then you know, okay, I'm doing something right, or maybe I'm doing something wrong. So just a tool. This tool is actually from a book that I love. My entire company literally runs off this system that this book talks about, not just my company, like hundreds of thousands of companies around the world. It's called Traction by Gino Wickman. The system is called EOS. I'm not getting paid for any of this, by the way. I just really, truly think this book will transform your life as well. All the books I'm sharing with you today are like transformational. So check it out. Habit number 3, be kind to yourself. So what I mean by that is, you know, we're all human. I stand up here and I'm talking about all these like wonderful things we're gonna do, but the reality is sometimes you just want to sleep in, or you know, eat a pizza, like you don't have to eat healthy all the time, or you don't want to go to the gym that day, whatever. And you know what? That's totally okay. So just be kind to yourself. Self-love is more powerful than you think. Okay, lesson number 2. Surround yourself with great people. So, who's heard this saying? I think we've all heard this. It's not what you know, but who you know. Show of hands. I can say that over the last 17 years, actually more than that, like since I've started my career, I've done so many things, went to so many courses, tried so many strategies, but the one huge thing that has accelerated not just my personal life and career, but my business is who I know. So how do you do this? How do you surround yourself with great people and make sure that you know, that's working for you, and making sure you're happy too at the same time? So the first tip I want to share is be intentional. So, you know, it's not just, I very much believe in the saying, you become the sum of the 10 people you spend the most time with. Has anyone heard this before? Yeah, I 100% truly believe that. So, you know, for me, I'm a part of a lot of CEO groups where I talk to other people who are in business. To be honest, I did this even right when I started my business. And I would walk into these rooms with like not even a year of business experience, and I'd be sitting around with like people with like 5 to 10 years of business experience. And I learned so much. And surprisingly, they actually learned some stuff from me too at the time. But you know, it's still to the same part of those CEO groups. I'm not saying you should join a CEO group, but whatever your goal is, go find those people and hang out with them more and make friends with them. They will inspire you and give you new ideas of things that you didn't even know existed, and that will accelerate your career. Be proactive. So instead of just, you know, going online, like everything's so online right now, and that's great. Like there's a lot of ways you can connect through LinkedIn, Instagram, all those platforms. But going and like to events, this is how Chika and I actually met. at an event, a face-to-face event, and you know, we've all walked into those rooms, even though like I'm very outgoing, sometimes I walk into these rooms and it's like terrifying. You're like, oh my God, I don't know anybody here. But you know what? Who cares? Just go talk to them anyways. And if they don't like you, who cares? You're never gonna probably see them ever again anyways, so who cares? So just challenge yourself to do that. Invest in relationships. Okay, I used to do this all the time. So I would walk into like an event or something, a networking event, and I would just try to hand out as many cards as possible and then get as many cards as possible. And then they would just end up on like a pile on my desk. Like, I don't even know why, but I think a lot of people just do that. So don't do that. What you should do is, you know, pick a few key people and invest in those relationships. And open your mind and, you know, like don't go to meet somebody just because you think they can do something for you. Because you never know where that relationship is going to go in the future. There's relationships that I started 15 years ago where I didn't think there would be any sort of like business connection or anything like that. And then boom, they become like your best connection ever 15 years later. You know, so just don't discount everything and have an open mind. Be genuinely interested in people. So, you know, when somebody's talking, actually actively listen. I know that sounds really straightforward, but oftentimes, especially in today's society with technology, you could be standing there having a conversation, but you're literally not even listening to what they're saying, you know? So, and when somebody says, yeah, hey, how are you? And then everyone's like, oh, great, how are you? And you know they're gonna say great back, because if they don't, it's like really weird. But yeah, just really be like actively engaged in conversations. It's about the quality of your relationships, not the quantity. This one, I love this one, I live my life by this. I run my business by this. Seek out people smarter than you. So I have this saying, I always say, I want to be the dumbest person in the room. Like, I always want to surround myself with people smarter than me, or what I think is smarter than me. I actually only will hire people who are smarter than me. One of my interview questions for job candidates is, what can you do better than me as the owner of the company? And you always get that look. You're like, oh, why? I can't believe she asked me this. And you know, they're really scared to like answer that question. But the reason why this is really cool is if you are literally, you know, surrounded by all these people smarter than you, there's only one way to go, is up in your level of knowledge. And again, surprisingly, like I've always constantly done this in my career, and I kind of am always walking into these rooms feeling very intimidated, but I do it anyways. But then it turns out that like you actually have a lot more to contribute than you even, I think we as people think, right? So don't underestimate your abilities, but seek out people smarter than you. And if you run a business, hire people smarter than you always. Be vulnerable and be authentic. Okay. This one, when I started my career, I grew up as a tomboy, but then like, you know, when I got older, I was like, oh, I like to wear dresses, I like to wear pink, you know, I like to be very feminine, but I worked on construction sites. Like Chika mentioned, I am in a male-dominated industry. So I tried to like dress myself down, I tried to like kind of like talk, like, you know, I belonged in like the male sector, you know, try to be cool and like fit in. And I did that for probably like 10 years of my career at least. And then I was like, you know what? Screw all those guys. Who cares what they think? I'm just gonna be me. And you know what was interesting? That has actually accelerated not just my personal brand, but my personal career and my business, because it makes you different, and being different is awesome. I used to think being different sucked, and I was like always trying to fit in, but you know, just be you. And that's okay to be you, and people will love you for you. And if they don't, they shouldn't be in your life anyway, so who cares? And then being vulnerable as well, being able to walk into a room and say you don't know something. I used to be really scared of doing that, especially early on in my career, where like I didn't want to look stupid. But now I'm like, you know what, I don't know this. Can you just explain this to me? And you know what happens? People don't laugh at you. People respect you for that, for your candidness and your honesty, and they even want to help you even more. So it's crazy how that works, right? So just like I really believe in this. Be vulnerable, be authentic. It will accelerate you so much further. Last but not least is lesson number 3. So develop persistence and perseverance. So failure is such a bad word. I hate that word. You know, it implies like negativity, like it just bad things. But it shouldn't. You should use failure as a stepping stone. And I think we've all heard that. We've all heard, okay, it's okay to fail, da 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 da. Okay, so yes, but now what? How do you apply that? So you know what? Fail fast. If you did something wrong, just be like, all right, you know what? That sucked. Own it. Yep. And then like analyze it. Here's what went wrong, and here's what I'm gonna do in next time I'm in that same situation. Instead of dwelling on it, and like, you know, I know easier said than done, trust me, I've sat like with my head like this in the middle of the night a few times, like just beating myself up for screwing something up, but we're all human. It's gonna happen again, and again and again, but it's how quickly you recover that defines whether or not you're using that failure as a stepping stone or not. Oh, I was gonna tell a story. Do I have time for a story? How much time do I have left? 10 minutes. Okay, so my company I started in Calgary. So I've had my location in Calgary for 17 years. Vancouver I've had for 8 years. When I started Vancouver, it was the worst experience of my life. I thought I knew everything, and I shouldn't have. Like, I feel like I'm telling the same story again. I should have known better, but you know, I did a business plan. I went and I got a whole bunch of money together. The BDC financed me. I had to sign all these personal guarantees, which basically means if I default on the loan, they're coming and taking my house. Like, I am now personally liable, which is very scary. And you know, I thought I put all this planning into it, and then so I went to Vancouver. Here I was, fast forward like 2 years after this happened. I burned through all the money that we lent. I had like 0 clients. It was basically like a repeat of like when I started the company. And I remember sitting in my office. It was the day before Christmas break, and it was like dark, and it was like so cold out, and I didn't even care. Like, I was just like so frustrated. I was just like devastated. I was like, I can't even believe I'm here. I'm sitting in Vancouver. My family's all in Calgary. I canceled my flight because I had work to do. Even though I had no clients, I'm like trying to get clients. And it was just a way harder expansion than I thought. So here I am sitting there, and I was just so defeated. And I was like, you know what? I'm like trying to talk myself out of this. I'm like, you know, Kathy, pick yourself up. Don't do this. You're way stronger than this. But I was like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna do something crazy. And I'm like, so builders are our clients, right? Because we do architectural design. So if I can get a builder that will refer me a job, then that's the quickest way for me to get a project and a client, and therefore revenue. So I was like, you know what? This just isn't working. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna Google like 50 builders, and I'm gonna call them right now. Like the day before Christmas. It was like 12 noon, I think. Like who picks up their phone then? But that's what I did. And I was like, I think I talked to probably about 30 to 40 builders in the period of like 5 hours. Like, I literally just like cold called every single person, and I didn't even care what they said. And has anybody here cold called? Oh my God, it's like I used to think it was the worst thing, but actually it's the best thing. It's hard. Like, people are so mean. They hang up on you and they call you names and whatever. So anyways, I went through that list of builders, and one of the last builders I talked to just happened to be this new builder that, you know, he was on the up and up, and he was quite influential in the industry. And he's like, you know what? The designer I'm working with right now is like dropping the ball all over the place. I'm actually looking for a new designer. I'm like, oh. And I was like, you know, like trying to keep my cool. I don't want to like get too excited on the phone. And I'm like, oh yeah. And I'm like, we should set up a meeting. And he actually met with me that day. And I'm like, what? And this builder gave me like, I want to say it was probably about 5 to 10 projects a year, regularly for the next like 5 years, and really like helped accelerate the business. This same individual ended up becoming the president of the Canadian Home Builders Association, and to this day we're still friends. But had I not failed so bad and like not like wiped the tears off my face, you know, and like pushed the bag of chips